I'd like to take the opportunity today to introduce you to a project. It's called H2 Future, which is a European Union funded project funded by the joint undertaking of the Horizon 2020 program, and it deals with hydrogen from electrolysis for low carbon steel making. And I thought the best way to introduce you to this project is by showing you a short video. Okay, so I think I couldn't put it any better, I think, and I hope you got an idea about the project. And I would like to give an update where we stand with the project right now and what's the thinking behind the project. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So I think in the energy world we are facing a couple of really huge challenges. One is the massive growth in surplus electricity, in particular in volatile wind and solar energy that leads to an ever-increasing demand for curtailments. And I know what I'm talking about because I've been working in the wind sector for 10 years now before I went into hydrogen here. And we see that there is a large need for flexibility in the electricity grid. On the other hand, we have this huge challenge that was already mentioned before, that all sectors need to gear up their efforts for decarbonizing to meet the very ambitious climate targets. And this is a call and the need for sector coupling. In our project, we actually can combine these two challenges, and we have set up a project with the thinking behind that what are the largest kind of CO2 sources in Austria, and one of the largest is, of course, apart from transport, is the industry. And voestalpine, as a steel maker, uses carbon or carbon monoxide as a reducing agent in their processes. And one way of getting rid of the carbon dioxide could be by using a different reducing agent like hydrogen. But when you look at the time scale here, it's a very long time scale. Yeah? We would think in around 2035 or so to really decrease the CO2 emissions from steel making substantially, because it has got a long lead time, of course. Anyway, the iron and steel industry accounts for around 6.7% of the global anthropogenic and about 31% of the industrial CO2 emissions. So this is really a sector and an industry to tackle if we want to reduce carbon emissions substantially. On the other hand, we have Verbund here in Austria, and we are a green electricity producer with a very, very green generation spread with around 96% renewables, mostly based on hydropower, a little bit on wind and on solar as well. We operate pumped storage, we understand energy storage. So it's very reasonable and just logical for us to extend our value chain from green electricity to green hydrogen, and to provide green hydrogen for industrial processes and for the industry, and at the same time provide grid services. And so these were the kind of the basics for the project. The project has already been introduced quickly, and the partners in the video, it's quite large with around 18 million euros of project budget. It's a flagship project of the European Union, so it's got a lot of attention. Started about a year ago and will run till 2021. What is it about? You see here an aerial view of voestalpine, or part of voestalpine. The red circle shows you where the PEM electrolyzer will be located. It will be a 6 megawatt PEM electrolyzer, which will be operated with green electricity and provide green hydrogen. The pilot plant commissioning is planned for the end of this year, and this will then be followed by about 2 years of demonstration and quasi-commercial operation. The whole thing is not an R&D project, it's an innovative action, so the funding agency expects us to run the equipment also after the project. So it's really some first industrial implementation. I will not bore you too much with the project objectives. This is probably something you can read through in the slides later on, but here just a few what's already happening. The first year was dedicated to the permitting process, to the detail engineering. The second year we already started with construction. You see here a shot, an aerial shot from the building site where this 6 megawatt PEM electrolyzer will be located. With 6 megawatt it's one of the world's largest electrolyzers, so it's really something substantial that we are doing here. We're currently working on the engineering documentation and on defining of KPIs. And yeah, as mentioned, the construction started earlier this year. The electrolyzer modules are already in manufacturing at the Siemens Erlangen site, where the electrolyzer will be manufactured. Yeah, the whole project has already drawn a lot of attention. We had a press conference for opening the project with some high-level CEOs, Mr. Hesun, Mr. Anzengruber, Mr. Eder. They are quite well known here in Austria, and Bart Biebeck from the funding agency. And later this year, actually in spring, we will have a groundbreaking ceremony to really show the progress of this project. If you would like to learn a little bit more about the project, there is a website, and well, I will be available for questions over lunch as well. So thank you very much.